Сайн байцгаана уу хүн үзэгчдээ. Өнөөдөр манай де факто нэвтрүүлгийн зочноор Америкийн инженерийн төслийн менежер ноён Даниел Вагнер оролцож байна.
Dan Wagner, Америкийн нэгдсэн улсын Gulfstream Aerospace компани төслийн менежер. Dan Wagner, Америкийн нэгдсэн улсын Калифорни их сургуулийг механик инженер мэргэжлэр мөн тус сургуульд онгоцны бүтэц дизайн, засвар үйлчилгээний дэвшилтэт технологийн курс дүүргэжээ. Менежментийн сургуульд Боинг компани онгоцны засварын дэвшилтэт аргууд курс, RAB ба QMS аудиторын сургалтуудад суралцсан байна. 1981 онд Америкийн нэгдсэн улсын General Motors компаниас ажлын гараагаа эхэлж, автомашины бүхээгийн анхны компьютер системийг боловсруулсан инженерүүдийн нэг юм. Dan Wagner Space Shuttle буюу сансрын олон дахин ашиглах хөлөгийн дизайныг шинжлэх, инженерчлэл, туршилт, дүн шинжилгээ зэрэг олон багийг удирдан ажиллаж байсан. Мөн Боинг 727, Боинг 737, Боинг 777, Боинг 787, Dreamliner онгоцнуудын бүтэц дизайн засвар үйлчилгээ, онгоцыг VIP үйлчлүүлэгчдийн хүсэлтээр хувийн онгоц болгон тоноглох, онгоцны нислэгийн батламжийн явцдах инженерийн багуудыг олон жил удирдах байсан ба Боинг компани техникийн албаны дараагаар ажиллаж байсан. Dan Wagner онгоцны нислэгийн үеийн entertainment технологийн ирээдүйг тодорхойлох төслийн багийг удирдан ажиллаж байна.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Please introduce yourself.
Yes, hello. My name is Dan Wagner. I am from the United States, and I am an engineering project manager, and I have a long career in aerospace. I'm here visiting my family, and was given the opportunity to come and speak today.
Great. The main interest I want to invite you is you have been working for many years in Boeing.
Yes.
And also you were a part of the Space Shuttle program.
Yes.
Let's start from Space Shuttle, what you
Sure.
have been doing,
Sure.
what was the interesting thing
Yes.
about it?
So the Space Shuttle was a very interesting time in my career. It's, for me, I was there when Challenger exploded, the Space Shuttle Challenger, and I was a part of the investigation, and then I led the redesign of that failed joint, and took the opportunity to also redesign the nozzle part of the system, and so spent about 13 years on the Space Shuttle program in total.
Wow. What was the major problem for this Challenger explosion?
It was kind of complicated. The public knows about the joint that failed. There were really three contributing factors. The first was the material, the actual O-ring material. When it's subjected to cold temperature, it loses its ability to be resilient. So imagine smashing an O-ring in frozen temperature and then releasing the pressure, and then that O-ring stays flat. In the case of the Space Shuttle booster, that created a gas path. It created a point of exit for the propellant that was being burned. So when the Space Shuttle was launched, it was extremely cold, and the Space Shuttle itself, if you watch it closely, what you will see is the Space Shuttle kind of moves one direction when the main engines ignite, and then when the boosters ignites, it goes the opposite direction. And when it did that, it compressed the O-rings flat, creating a gas path, and that's what really led to the compromised joint.
And you changed that material?
We changed the material. We also changed the joint design, so that when in the future, if there ever was a gas path again, pressure from the inside, it would actually create a barrier.
Now it's safe.
Very safe. Very safe.
Space Shuttle, interestingly, unlike other analogs in Russia, for example, it can fly and come back.
Yes.
Please tell how this idea came out. It's fantastic, isn't it? You fly and you take it back.
Yes. So NASA challenged us. You know, we knew it was going to be expensive to run a space shuttle program. So we were challenged to design the shuttle with redundant systems, The boosters were designed to be reused like 19 times. So there was a lot of forethought to be efficient because of the enormous expense in running the shuttle program.
19 times, you said?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And how much was in economic sense, the efficiency?
So the space shuttle program consumed roughly 4% of our national budget.
Wow, that expensive.
Very.
It's in terms of US dollar.
Yes,
would be
that's correct.
4% of GDP.
Yes.
Your GDP is now about 16 or so trillion US dollar.
Yeah. So realize that this was many years ago. You know, the shuttle fleet has since been retired. But yes, it was enormous.
There are six or so industries where the U.S. has almost way dominant positions in the world.
Yes.
One of them is a space program.
Yes.
Why is that?
I think it was because our public was very much motivated, starting with our president, President Kennedy. He's really the one that brought the vision of space exploration into the minds of our young people. And he inspired our really smart people. So that really was the start, and we just continued to challenge ourselves.
How you have entered with in a country that whole things yourself?
How did I get started?
Yes.
So I basically decided, you know, I'm going to dream really big, and I am going to apply for this job. And I was surprised that they selected me.
They selected you.
Yeah, I was very young.
Competition was big.
Yes, very big. Yes.
And then you went to, it's after graduation?
Yes.
Which school?
So University of California, Santa Barbara.
The specialization?
Yes, mechanical engineering.
Mechanical engineering.
Yes.
So as a mechanical engineering also you have been not only working with Space Shuttle,
Yes.
but also with the Boeing.
Yes.
So
many
what
years.
you have been doing for Boeing so many years?
Yes. So I've had many roles with Boeing. They've given me a lot of opportunities. I started out as a structural analyst for the company, and where we design new maintenance programs for the Boeing 727, 737, 777, 757. So what we did is we knew that it was very expensive for operators to maintain these aircraft. So we brought operators into Boeing from all around the world, and we examined all of their inspection records. And so we very carefully made decisions on what inspections we could relax and what inspections we needed to bring more focus onto. And we created a brand new maintenance program, saving millions of dollars.
And every time with every new generation of Boeing, if I may say.
Yes.
I remember 727 came to Mongolia first, and very shortly, or about that time, many airports have forbidden because the noise reason.
Yes.
And above which level it was prohibitive?
You know, I don't recall, but I can tell you this. There comes a point in the life of an aircraft where it becomes really too expensive to maintain them. So they have a life to them. In the case of the 727, yes, we knew that their end was coming, and so we enhanced the maintenance programs for them as well, so that operators could use them as carriers of freight, primarily focused for freight transport.
And now, do they use 727 anymore?
Not too much.
Not too
mostly
much.
for people still like them. It's usually private owners use them, but not airlines.
Okay. So what was the principal difference from 727 to 37?
Oh, it's massive.
737.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
In my view, the 737 is the most practical aircraft in the world today. And as you know, they've been selling them very well for many, many, many years. And, you know, it's such a good design and so practical. You know, now we have the 737 MAX.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And, of course, it has its problems today.
Until MAX, it was the number one sold and the best practical.
Yes.
But however, MAX, I understand, also not that substantial, but small details, but that caused big problem, right?
Yes.
What was that about?
You know, really it comes down to 737 MAX is very sophisticated. a lot of new technology, software-controlled technology. And in the case of the MAX, they have software problems that basically put it into a stall position that's out of control. I am very confident that Boeing is going to solve that problem permanently, and I'm also confident that our regulatory body, the FAA, would never allow it to fly until it was absolutely 100% fixed.
At the moment, I understand it's already solved technically. Now
That's
it's a
my
matter of
understanding.
approving.
Yes, but it has to be proven.
Okay.
That's the critical thing.
Yeah. Say 737 starts, then this, do you call it general? How you call it, this modification?
So it's essentially, it's they don't rebrand it, although they're talking about changing the name.
They're completely modernizing with time. How long it takes time from a modernization to next modernization?
It really depends on the extent of the problem. And in the case of the 737 MAX, there's a lot of pressure. It's a very high priority to get it fixed as soon as possible.
Yeah,
so
because many people are waiting.
They're
And
waiting
Boeing is
in
going
line.
to pay a lot of money.
Yes. So they're parking a lot of them now. So the FAA, in cases like this, the FAA brings all their resources in and puts a lot of attention on it because they recognize the economic impact.
Yeah, they are probably competing with every hour.
Oh, every hour, yes.
777. It's a fantastic. Really, it's called the Dreamliner.
It
It's good.
Yes.
And its competitor Airbus had stopped recently 357 production.
Yes.
350 production. A350.
Right.
And they said, how do you read that? I mean, the great two-floor big plane designed, flying, all big.
Yes.
Then stop. Why?
Yes. I don't know for sure why Airbus made their decision, but they look at their business case very carefully, and their market, and they recognize that in aerospace and in aircraft in particular, technologies are rapidly advancing today, rapidly advancing, and sometimes it's not cost effective to continue on with a certain model, knowing that they have something better coming up soon.
Does it give particular advantage to Dreamliner for that particular segment of markets?
Yes. So let me say this: the Dreamliner is the 787, whereas the 777 is not. They're both wide-body aircraft, but the 777 is an extremely good design aircraft, right? In fact, I led a new interior in a 777 for a Saudi prince. It was a very luxurious interior, a very good aircraft design. So,
then the largest among the Boeing series is 747.
yes, it is.
And your president,
Yes,
they have two of them, right?
that's correct.
And there was discussions during Trump campaign that he had kind of canceled the previous booking of another airlines.
Yes.
What happened with that status now?
So what's going on now is, yes, like you said, there are two Boeing 747s that are Air Force One aircraft for the president. They are both currently today being refreshed. So their interiors are being completely updated. New electronics, that's all going on right now in Texas, one after the other. So President Trump, he will make a decision when to change those aircraft out. But for now, the intention is to continue to use them. They're a very, very good aircraft for the president.
Because I went to President Reagan ranch in California, and inside the hall, one aircraft was there inside. And as a museum, you go there inside, walk through. Of course, I think it was Boeing 737.
It could have been.
Yes, and inside there, even 27, I am afraid.
Okay.
Yeah. So, just President Trump has a huge fazenda in case if he wants to keep Air Force One in his range. Let's talk about Boeing. Boeing and Airbus, and larger airlines have both of them.
Yes.
If the more larger, they have the same amount of the. Why is that?
I think that's very smart. What you don't want to do is put all of your, as we say in America, all of your eggs in one basket. Both Airbus and Boeing make very, very good aircraft. So it's good because it keeps them competing against each other. Yes, and it's just Airbus has different design philosophy. They both have their strengths and weaknesses as companies, but I think it's just really smart to keep a good, diverse between Airbus and Boeing. Both serve really good in the industry.
Do you see any possibly the third major, larger player in this industry other than Airbus and Boeing?
I would say, there are other companies. Today I work for a company called Gulfstream Aerospace. Have you heard of Gulfstream?
Yeah, of course, the private jet. Yes.
So I would say to you, Gulfstream builds the very best VIP business aircraft in the entire world. They are known as number one. We are currently, we just certified 2 new aircraft, the G500 and G600. We're working on future aircraft today, and it's looking very, very promising. They have a very, very bright future ahead.
Now, for example, recently Honda made small jet.
Yes, Honda jet.
Different configuration. The engine is on the top or something.
Yes.
What does it make? Complete change?
I think it has some efficiency and aerodynamic advantages. I think the market is kind of limited, to be honest with you. I considered working for them earlier in my career and decided that the aircraft had its limitations, I'll say.
It cannot be bigger?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Before we go to the generalization, I want to ask you another question.
Yes.
I have been driving in Nevada, near Las Vegas, down the road, and I saw a huge airport of dead aircraft.
Yes.
I don't know how many thousands of them. I was driving a few hours.
Yes.
Why is there, and what is that going on? What shall we do with that?
Yes.
This is a huge things. What to do?
So let me say this. That is the largest, we call it the boneyard. That's the largest area where we store obsolete aircraft. And the reason we put them in the desert is because they do well, they age well in the desert. So what happens is that those aircraft...
Boneyard, you say?
Yes, boneyard. Those aircraft are sometimes the parts are reused. Sometimes the aircraft are completely dismantled and the metals are recovered. So it's essentially, it's kind of a, for lack of better terms, it's an airplane junkyard.
Yes, and however, as you said, there is a certain entity who is working on that.
Oh, absolutely, yes. They're not left, nobody's like walking away from them. The desert was chosen specifically because we wanted to continue to use
it. And how many % of them is reused of things?
I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. I do know that there is an active resale market for aircraft parts as well as full aircraft. Sometimes people like John Travolta, for instance, John Travolta, the celebrity, wanted his own
the actor,
727, so he took one and restored it.
From there? From there?
Yes.
And other countries like Mongolia, if the airline is not working anymore, the aircraft, can they bring there, or how does it work?
I'm not sure. I would say there's probably plenty of room here in Mongolia to store those.
We can offer probably all planes, please.
Your climate is ideal, like in the Gobi.
Can it be good business?
I think it could be. I think it's worth investigating.
Well, good idea. Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about general aviation.
Sure.
As you see, Mongolia, with our vast, huge, wide land, we would better have a general aviation or a small aircraft, which, Mongolians likes riding, horses, cars, soon the planes. I mean, down the road it's come anyway. How do you see that? I mean, where we to start? How you see just visualizing, seeing all aircrafts in the world, working so close with them?
Yes. Let me say this. I really wish that the people of Mongolia could have seen what I have seen, because the future here is very, very bright.
Okay.
I see a time in Mongolia where they are struggling between the time of communism and then transitioning into democracy. I see the growing pains, but I see a very, very bright future. Your young generation is your future here. And I'll tell you, when I came here, it was just really to be on vacation with my family. You know, my wife is Mongolian, and so I came for the first time now to visit, and I told my wife, I said, boy, it would be wonderful if I could participate and bring what I know to these people. I see it very bright. You're at the very beginning of what's going to be wonderful. I see it.
There is an idea of having, now new airport is coming.
Yes.
They had some ceremonial opening, which actually is, the aircraft will be used, I think, a year from now.
Yes.
But however, with the old airport, which has complete facility, long runway, everything.
Yes.
And there's an idea to use that for military academy worldwide.
Okay.
That the Boeing instructor comes teaching here,
Yes.
one. Secondly, the maintenance for aircraft worldwide.
Yes.
Now we already have a workshop, which is used for that.
Yes.
And the third, to have a general aviation purpose airport. Is it a good idea? How do you see that?
I think it really comes down to very careful analysis. It has to make sense, right? It has to make good business sense. So there is from a business perspective, maintenance organizations do extremely well. And I would say to you that now that your new airport is opening, I think it would be in Mongolia's best interest to learn how to do their own maintenance. There's very good maintenance programs. I think it would be much more cost efficient and better for your people to learn to maintain your own fleet of aircraft.
Not only our own fleet, if we use if we work very well,
Yes.
it is completely new kind of export jobs.
Yes.
People are sitting,
Yes.
and other airlines
Oh,
coming
yes.
and
Oh,
fixing
yes.
their things
Absolutely.
here. And because our location also, Northeast Asia, China,
Yeah.
Russia, growing market, they
Oh,
need
yes.
this huge two
yes.
lands.
Oh,
also.
yes.
With that purposes, maintenance business.
Yes.
What is the best maintenance business that Mongolians can learn other than the U.S., outside of the U.S. in the world?
I would say to you that some of the best maintenance organizations in the world are in both America and in Europe. They're very, very strong, very, very well, how can I say, very mature, very well-run maintenance organizations.
How about you start your own business here
Yes.
for the maintenance?
Yes. You know, I'm really open. I'm just excited about the possibility of being able to contribute to what I see is going on here. I see a very, very bright future, and you're at the very beginning.
There is in general aviations, there's a type of aircraft.
Yes.
If you recall, if you may know, there is a Russian type of, which we used for years. 50 years we used this, the plane called AN-24,
Yes.
AN-24.
Yes.
You know this aircraft.
A little bit.
Yeah, and in terms of the casualties,
Yes.
this is the best record in the world.
Yes.
This one is used for agriculture purpose. You know, the pesticizing,
Yes.
or destroying the other unnecessary animals for
Yes.
the flies.
Yes.
So that one, if we make an assembly of these aircraft, for example, from Russia here,
Yes.
with whom this aircraft will be competing in the world with other type of aircraft? What's your American version of that aircraft?
You know, I don't think that we have one, to be honest, not that comes to mind. That aircraft is very unique.
Because it can fly off
Yeah.
and on the dirt.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, it should not be just mud, but
Right,
as soon as
right.
dry land, it can go.
Yes.
Just 50 to 80 meters.
Yes, that's very good. Yes.
Isn't it amazing? 80 meters flying off.
Yes.
And this can fly with, I think, almost 240, up to 400 kilometers per hour speed.
Yes. Yes.
And just there is one idea, assembling this kind of aircraft and sell it to other countries. So that's the idea on there now. So having said that, the whole air industry, we're not talking about the open sky that we need, anti-monopoly against the national airlines here.
Yes.
We don't, because it's a short time, it will take a long time. But the only just aviation industry itself for a country like Mongolia could be the only industry where they can really diversify the economy. Would you agree?
Oh, yes, I would. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, you need probably special school for all these people.
Yes.
Are you familiar with Chinese air industry?
I am not. I've spent many years dealing with certification and regulations, mostly FAA and EASA regulations, and also Russian regulations when I worked on the Sukhoi Russian regional jet.
Oh.
So I have that experience, but not.
You
not
have
with
been
Chinese.
living in Russia for working for Sukhoi?
I did not live in Russia. What I did was Russia came to us and they said, we want to develop our first regional jet. And they asked me to help them to essentially come up with Russian certification regulations that would be acceptable, that would allow them to fly that aircraft worldwide. And so my job was to lead that effort with the Russians, develop their own certification requirements that would be acceptable around the world.
And you did?
Yes.
It's accepted?
Yes.
And Russia is exporting Sukhoi all around?
All around the world, yes.
Unfortunately, recently there was one case, in Moscow airport, I think.
Yes.
What had happened?
Well, I don't know the details of what happened. I just know that they've had their share of accidents. Aircraft are very, very safe in general, right?
Yes,
they're really well designed.
Compared with the car, different.
Yes. But things still can go wrong.
Yes.
So very complicated systems, but by and large, I feel very, very safe flying on airplanes. Yeah.
With talking to you, I want many people, Mongolians related to air industry, interested in air industry, to understand the potential future of the country using the aircrafts and maybe assembly in case, if necessary.
Yes.
What does it take for leadership to really understand and consider that and provide all necessary policy?
Yes. I think it takes, it takes a lot of engagement with people that have been doing this for many years. I would say to you, I would encourage the people of Mongolia not to try to do this alone, to take advantage of the tremendous amount of experience that's out there in the world today. I can tell you, for instance, that Boeing offers training for anybody and everybody to learn the industry. So they routinely train people. They bring people in from all over the world and train them.
So in all field of aircraft?
Oh, yes.
Maintenance, production, then services, right?
Yes.
And even flying, everything?
Absolutely, everything. So for instance, for several years I worked in their customer service center. And I saw all of this, all of these services that were offered routinely to operators of the world. So it's a very, very good place to start, in my view.
I will make sure that those who are interested to contact you.
Absolutely.
Is it possible?
If I can help the people of Mongolia, absolutely.
Then that's wonderful, because that's what we need more than anything. Knowledge from the people who knows. And you are one of them. Thank you, sir.
Yes, you're quite welcome. Thank you for having me.
За хүнд үзэгчдээ өнөөдөр манай дефакто нэвтрүүлгийн зочноор энэ инженерийн төслийн менежер олон жил Боингд ажилласан, Space Shuttle програмд ажилласан ноён Даниел Вагнер оролцлоо. Их баярлалаа.